We continue our journey in Africa, the land of safaris, a place where life explodes with variety and beauty. Within this vast continent, people hold to a variety of worldviews. But even a large number of people sincere in a particular belief is no evidence it's true. The truth is the truth whether anybody believes it or not. But when it comes to the evolutionary origins of life itself, is there any evidence that one kind of animal can change into another? Millions today believe this theory to be a fact. But do the facts of life support the theory? Thousands of years of recorded human observation have never witnessed one kind of animal evolving into another. Despite this evidence, millions still believe these assumptions. New species of the same kind of animal from the same type of animal are bred all the time. But is there any real evidence that reptiles have evolved into birds, for example? And doesn't the fact that we still have both reptiles and birds seem to contradict this idea? Birds come in an enormous variety of colors, types, and sizes, each unique. Few are as incredible as the ostrich. The ostrich are the camels of the bird family and are able to survive months without food due to the oil stores in their bodies, and more than 5 weeks without water. Most of their water needs are produced internally, and the rest they extract from the vegetation they eat. This enables the female to sit on her eggs and guard them for more than 40 days. Her eggs have been specially designed for nesting on the ground, with shells strong enough to take the weight of a full-grown man. But if you fancy stealing her eggs, think again. She could chase you for 30 minutes at 40 miles per hour and still have enough strength to kick you hard enough to kill you. Anyway, the eggs take over 2 hours to boil, so breakfast will be late. Ostriches are among the healthiest creatures on the planet, with the strongest immune system known to man. This means they can live virtually disease-free lives. But like every animal on Earth, they eventually die. Evolution is a theory about escaping death and the survival of the fittest. But the fittest sooner or later die just like the weak. Everything dies because life is more than just that which is physical. Many wonder why the ostrich has wings, even though they cannot fly. But wings can be used for more than just flying. Ostriches use theirs as air brakes and for air conditioning. And although they have no oil in their feathers like other birds have for waterproofing, ostrich feathers are ideal for keeping cool and retaining heat. Perfect if you live in a desert, where hot midday temperatures can drop to -10 degrees centigrade at night. Each feather's white patterns are as unique as a human fingerprint. Again, this individuality has no evolutionary value and only highlights the limitless creative ability of a master designer. One thing is certain from both fossilized and living ostriches. They always have and always will only ever produce more ostriches. So, in light of what we can presently see, is the past really that mysterious? Or does the present teach clear, unchanging lessons about the history of life? Is the history of mankind unclear? And what about our destiny? Do we share an ancestor with apes and monkeys, or were we designed and created in the image of God? Certainly, there are those who point out the many similarities that exist between apes and humans, and even other forms of life. But what about the differences? Or are these differences being ignored? because they do not fit the model of evolutionary theory. Evolutionary scientists focus on the many similarities between animals to convince the world that they originated from a common ancestor. The similarities only prove that animals created to live in the same environment need a certain number of common functions and abilities. Unfortunately, evolutionists ignore the many differences which prove conclusively that adaptations produce only new species, never new kinds of animals. Most of the world's fruits are 98% water and vary from each other by a difference of only 2%. But that 2% of difference accounts for size, taste, shape, and color. DNA codes contain billions of bits of information for each life form. So a 2% difference is actually a huge amount. Everyone can see that scales are unlike feathers, and feathers are unlike fur. But how are they different? Well, for starters, they're made from different materials. So a reptile wanting to become a bird has a problem. Where does he get the new materials to change his scales into feathers? And where does the new coded information for these things come from? Even if there was a way for him to acquire these new materials, he would also need a new DNA blueprint to build the new structures. Plus, the existing body parts would all have to be redesigned to make room for the changes. This is why adaptations can only produce new species or variations of existing species. Wildebeest herds migrate to utilize the best food supplies and to reduce their chances of being eaten. Their longer forelegs and sloping backs help them to conserve energy when traveling long distances. Wildebeest calves are able to keep up with the herd less than an hour after being born. When the wildebeest cow is ready to give birth to her calf, she uses an amazing regulatory system to protect her baby from lions and other predators. The wildebeests are the only antelope that can time exactly when they excrete the afterbirth, which attracts big cats and hyenas due to the smell of blood present. If Mrs. Wildebeest is aware of hunters nearby, she will wait until her calf is able to run, and then deposit the afterbirth away from the calf before leaving with her baby in another direction. If wildebeest are the only antelope to have this regulatory system, then it proves they did not evolve from something else, and nothing has evolved from them. Not only this, but the fossil record shows no evidence of wildebeest having been anything else either. Wildebeests are extremely cautious by nature and will run away at the slightest alarm. But how do they know that antelopes, ostriches, and zebra are friendly and lions are dangerous? It is obvious from studying them that they are born with this knowledge. Of course, intelligence and knowledge has to do with information, which is not physical. So where does it come from?